Can you hear me? Yeah? Okay, good. Yeah. Bhajans? Yes? Anybody? No? Kirtan, bhajan, chanting. Yes. Yeah, come. Here you are. Here's the mic behind you. Come here. Come sit here. Sit here.
Tumi bhajare mana, tumi japare mana. Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram Japare mana.
Tumi bhajare mana, tumi japare mana. Om Ram. You should also repeat with us. You should also repeat the second time.
Tumi bhajare mana, tumi japare mana. Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram Japare mana. Tumi bhajare mana, tumi japare mana. Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram 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 Japare mana. Tumi bhajare mana, tumi japare mana. Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram Japare mana. Tumi bhajare mana, tumi japare mana. Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram Japare mana. Tumi bhajare mana, tumi japare mana. Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram Japare mana. Tumi bhajare mana, tumi japare mana. Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram 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 Japare mana. Tumi bhajare mana, tumi japare mana. Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram Japare mana. Tumi bhajare mana, tumi japare mana. Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram Japare mana.
Big hand. And she's coming and doing this every day this time. Thank you. Decided. Some things are already decided. All right. So this is supposed to be a workshop. So you work by asking questions and I will talk shop by answering them. Then we have fulfilled the notion it is a workshop. Always the first question takes a little while, but then after that it comes. Yes?
Swaminiji,
Om.
this morning you talked about Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purna, right? And I've always been curious about this, the meaning, and I was wondering if you could speak to it a little bit.
Yes, we only heard what the clerk heard. We don't really, did not have the time to discuss what it means. The word adas, from where the word adaha comes, the root is adas. Adas means that. Idam means this. And the word that in Sanskrit, in the tradition, is always used to, it's like a shortcut for Brahman, Ishvara, Bhagavan, God. Why? Because it is not something that is uh, easily understood, and it seems to be remote, far away, like that Bhagavan somewhere not locally available. This is our understanding, misunderstanding, but this is what it is. So therefore the Upanishad goes along with our self ignorance and says, okay, that that is Purnam. Purnam means that which is whole in every which way. Even though the word whole is just a word, here it means a lot more than, not half whole. Here, whole means limitless, because that's what one wants to be. One wants to feel happy, means what? One wants to feel whole. One wants to feel secure, means one wants to feel whole. And even nowadays there is all this big hype about holistic health, wholesome food. The word whole has an abiding presence in our dialogue, in our dictionary, because it is a word that resonates with everybody. So Purna means that which is complete, which doesn't need anything else to complete it. That is a far cry from one's everyday life, where the waking up does not happen without a cup of coffee to complete the person in the morning. And of course, the what is that? Uh, the chit chat among the ashramites is, oh, there is no coffee here. Oh my God, OMG, how far? Let me GPS the nearest Starbucks and where it is and how to go. And I get messages on the phone also. Swamiji, I'm going to Starbucks. Can I get you? Can I get you latte? And I responded, it is a little latte for that. So, you know, so, so we don't feel complete. We don't feel complete without knowing, without an aid to wake us up. And then we need an aid to put us to sleep, whether we call it melatonin or whether we call it some music or something or whatever it is. You need an aid to prop you up. We need an aid to put you to sleep. And in between waking up and going to sleep, there are so many aids that are needed. They say it takes one whole village to bring up a child, and it takes the whole universe to prop up one person. Okay. So many, we are a bustle of needs. So many needs from day to night, so many needs. And so I don't feel whole, one can say. I'm not whole. What do you mean whole? I feel like Swiss cheese, full of holes perhaps, but not whole. Not whole. How can you say I'm whole? That means the cause. The cause from which everything has come is whole. This is an Upanishadic sentence. And this means the manifest universe, starting with this doddering body, which is prone to falls, prone to aging, prone to disease, prone to death. This body, which is so finite, is what? Is also this whole universe is whole. Even though it is finite, it is whole because it comes from a source that is whole. So that is whole, the cause is whole, and the effect, which is this manifest universe starting with our own bodies, shares the same DNA as Bhagavan. And what is the DNA of Bhagavan? Sat Chit Ananda. That is Bhagavan's DNA. And so that is the Jiva's DNA also. You like that? Yeah. So this is what it is. So we share that same wholeness, which the cause is, the effect cannot be away from the cause. Like from an oak tree, you cannot expect to get mangoes. So similarly, from Satchidananda, which is all, which is whole, which is free, which is limitless, you can't expect to get something rotten. It just cannot happen. So then Purnam Adaha Purnam Idam. And then from that whole came this whole. And then, of course, there might be a question that when Bhagavan, that's why we don't say created, we say manifested himself slash herself as this universe. One would think that Satchidananda got very slim and disappeared. If that is the raw material of the universe, it disappeared. Like having some butter and buttering a slice of bread, and very soon all the butter is over. No. It is whole means it never comes to an end. It is that which is always the same, unchanging, and never, ever, ever coming to an end. And that is that wholeness, which is the manifest universe, non separate from God. So, when that Bhagavan manifested himself, herself in the form of this variegated, infinite universe of infinite names and forms, this Satchidananda Brahman Bhagavan did not undergo any change because infinite, because whole, free. So that's what Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. When you take away the whole from the whole, what remains is the whole, because it's a projected universe non separate from Bhagavan. Like if you dream of spending a lot of money in the dream, next morning, are you poorer? Say no, show at least one sign of life. Okay. Are you poorer? No, exactly. So you are the same. So what was the dream and what was the spending? Just a projection of you, your memory, your desire. That's all it is. It is Bhagavan's memory of the previous cycle of creation. And all the jivas' desires, the jivas who are one with Bhagavan. But you see, we are crazy. Jiva means crazy people. Okay. Yeah, that's the direct translation from Sanskrit. Jiva means crazy person. Okay. Yeah, tell anybody, they will agree with you. Yeah. So all these, we are crazy. We are totally crazy. We don't know what we are doing. First, we say, I want to be one with you. I'm crying. When will you give me darshan? Darshan, kab doge, Bhagavan? Please come take me. Swing low, sweet chariot. Take me. Why am I away from you? And Bhagavan takes these desires seriously. And Bhagavan says, okay, come along. No, what do you mean? I want to be on my own. I want to be independent. I don't want to be one with you. It's so boring. You're Satchidananda all the time. It's very boring. I want to be me. I want to see what I can do. Okay, tathastu. Bhagavan, that's why, he talks very little, because he has to deal with us on a daily basis. That's why Bhagavan does not need cable TV. Every jiva is a reality channel. That's all it is. Yeah. And so Vishnu says, Tathastu, whatever. You want to be free, go. I'll create another universe and you can stomp around and exhaust your karma. Oh, can I be born again? Sure, because you'll have so many desires. You will have to be born again. Sure, go for it. Be born again and again and again. Tathastu. And so this is how it is. So Bhagavan doesn't undergo any change at all. The universe is non-separate from Bhagavan, even when it is manifest. That's why when we say every tree is Bhagavan. In fact, every tree is worshipped in India. And then they even arrange marriages between two trees. Sometimes the trees grow intertwined like this. They grow in Garudasana and they're all intertwined. And then so they are told, they said, okay, you are made for each other. And so the villagers come and they have a very elaborate marriage arranged. This is Purna. Everything is Purna because everything is Bhagavan. In fact, even our dishes are called Purna because you see, we have certain things. This is true in every tradition. I mean, what else can you do with desserts? You either eat it as it is or you stuff it into something else, bake it, fry it, steam it, and then eat it. So the stuffing, that sweet stuffing is called Purna. That's what it is. And then you take some bland dough, like a rice flour or like a wheat flour, modak when you make. And then for Ganesha Chaturthi, Ganesha's birthday, that is his cake. Okay. Yeah. And so this modak, these little steamed balls or these fried little fritters of this filling of coconut, jaggery, everything, grated coconut, jaggery, and cardamom, flavored with cardamom. It's all there. And then, as children, we used to remove the skin, throw it, and eat the purna. Everybody wants only the purna. Even our dishes are Vedantic. What can we do? Yeah. Next.
Infinite?
Yes. Infinite,
Yep.
limitless. Yeah.
Swamiji, I've been reading the Bible. I'm a Christian. And if you could speak to the offerings of animals and the eating of fish and all of that, because I know it can all be um, understood somehow. I have a, it seems a contradiction because of course, the Hindu tradition, the yogic tradition, we eat no meat and that it's all vegetarian and ahimsa, do no harm. And yet, of course, Jesus did no harm and was amazing.
Yeah.
And so how do you
reconcile
all that in your
Yeah.
head?
I don't know if you need to reconcile it. But let me speak, to see the word dominion we don't have, you see. And the Bible will say one has dominion over everything that flies, everything that crawls, all these things, right? Yeah. So I talked to a few Christian scholars on this subject. Because so many interfaith groups and all I go, and I had the chance to talk to some of them. And they said something which was very interesting. They said dominion in English means overlordship or certain kind of a power situation. But in Latin, apparently, it means a position of responsibility, that you are responsible for them. And so you see, we can't say, why did Jesus eat fish or made bread into, fish, and he multiplies the fish and the loaves and all these things? Why did he sanction that? Because in those days, people ate many things. So whatever they was grown there, according to the weather conditions and according to the customs and the situations of the time, people ate. So likewise, we cannot go back in time to the Paleolithic man and tell the caveman, hey, you should have not eaten this yak. Why did you eat this yak? We cannot tell him that because that's all he knew. That was what was eaten at that time. And then same thing we offer to Bhagavan what we eat. Correct? We offer, offering means what you eat, you give. You don't give Bhagavan something else. That's why in rural India there is still much less, but it is still there. The animal sacrifice is still there. The offering of the animals to Bhagavan and anointing in Kali temples, anointing the doing abhisheka for Kali with the blood of the animal still there. That live force offering still there. But we are in an age which is completely separate and different. And we have a buddhi, the intellectual faculty, that is very, very different from before. It has evolved. It is much more responsive to its environment, and also it needs to be much more responsive because the same way in which the animals were killed in Jesus's times are not the same way the animal is killed now. Now there's a big difference. That's why so many times we hear the cow escaped the slaughterhouse. I mean, on the truck, it decided to just fall over and risk its life rather than go to the slaughterhouse. It kind of knew in its body and in the tension of all the other cows that were riding, so it could know. So you see the way. See, if you in the olden days you went into the forest maybe with a crude knife or whatever was made, or with your bare hands. And there was a 50-50 chance, and it was an equal chance. The animal could become your lunch, or complete the sentence, you could become the animal's lunch. Then it is fair. It is fair. One day I'm lucky, another day I am, I am whatever. Yeah. Another day the animal is lucky. Yeah. This is how it was. And now we have all these sophisticated mechanism of killing. It is unconscionable, really. It's not just the eating. The eating is at this end of the chain. It is all about how we process the food. And so, therefore, we are called to look at things according to the times. That is why there is a focus on vegetarianism. Otherwise, one can eat whatever one wants to eat and whatever one is used to eating.
Adele, would you like to unmute yourself to ask?
Yes, hello. I have a question. What is the difference, if you could explain it, between the terms Bhagavan, Brahman, and Ishvara? Are those different terms?
Namaste, Adele.
Namaste.
How are you?
I am fine, thank you.
Wonderful. Bhagavan means it's actually synonymous. There is really no difference. I'll explain a little more in detail so we understand. And so, Bhagavan means the one who has bhaga. Bhaga means auspiciousness or virtues in complete and full measure. The one who is limitlessly knowledgeable, limitlessly whole, limitlessly has vairagya or dispassion, limitlessly has strength, etc. All these things. There are 6 kinds of bhagas that are talked about, and the wielder of them is Bhagavan, the one who is the creator of this universe. So this is a term in that is referred to Ishvara as an active caretaker, creator, and the resolver of the universe. Okay, and so then this is exactly what the things happen. Now this is Bhagavan. Then we have the word Ishvara. Ish means the one who has no overlord, the one who is who has all glories. Vara means always. So the one who Ish doesn't even mean overlord, the one who takes care, palane, the one who nurtures and nourishes. And Vara means always. So the one who is always nourishing the whole universe. So these 2 epithets for what we have, this for the creator, they are related to the universe. They are related to the capacity of the manifest universe, where there is there is an active connection between the creator and the created. So this is what it is. So these 2 epithets come here, and then the final one is this Brahman. Brahman means limitlessly big, and that can be used for both both as Ishvara, the one who is the maintainer, the sustainer, the creator, and the resolver, the one who has the power to do all that, or it can be used as that consciousness which underlies both the jiva, the crazy person, and and Ishvara, the same person. So this is what is that same consciousness, which is me, which is which is an extension of me, which is Bhagavan. That same consciousness, untethered by complexes and sorrow and fear. That is what. So that Brahman, when we say, it can be Ishvara in a manifest form, or it can be Ishvara in a latent form in between cycles of creation. But really, when we say Brahman, it has to mean Ishvara as well, because we are not there in between cycles of creation to relate to Brahman. Brahman means that which is the only thing that is. And then you will hear the word Atma. Atma again is that which is a synonym of Brahman, which is as it connects to, as it refers to a body mind, a single body mind sense complex. That is what is Atma. So Atma is Brahman. That is the teaching of Vedanta. Brahman is Bhagavan, essentially Bhagavan. Essentially means without, maybe we can sort of conceptually say, without the accoutrements of overlordship and having the laws of the universe and having all this power to create, etc., etc. Then we can say Brahman, but really Brahman is Ishvara. It is used for both the manifest Ishvara and the latent Ishvara as well. I hope that was not too confusing.
Hi. I have a question about what the Bhagavad Gita says, that the highest state of a yogi is bearing insult and injury. I don't quite understand how that applies in practical life out there.
Where does it say in the Bhagavad Gita?
That was on our course.
Oh, no, yeah. In the 12th chapter. 12th chapter.
Yeah, I don't know where.
But it doesn't say exactly like that.
No, okay.
Yeah, it says slightly differently. It says a yogi is one who is not affected by insult, and neither are they affected by insult or injury. Insult. Tulya ninda stutir mauni santushto yena kenachit. Okay. Tulya means same. Ninda means criticism. Stuti means praise. Santushto, contented. Yena kena chitu, by whatever comes in his or her way. Santushtaha, contented. That is yogi. The yogi is not the one who's looking for insults and says, here, I am your doormat. Come one, come all, insult me. That's not a yogi. That is somebody that needs a therapist. Okay. Yeah. So yogi is not that. Yogi means someone who is so matured and so compassionate that if somebody were to criticize them, they don't take it personally. They don't take it to heart. They don't suffer as a result and say, oh, no, why did they do this? And who are they to tell me off like this? And they said this and I'm going to show them, or I can't show them, so I'm going to sit and resent this and I'm going to be upset. No, that's not the yogi. And similarly, if somebody praises somebody, then the person gets all elated. Oh, really? You think, so much so that even if you say nice dog, the person says thank you. The dog doesn't say thank you. The person says thank you. So you see, there is a way in which we get elated very quickly and dejected very quickly. And what the Bhagavad Gita says is that the yogi and the jnani, the person of knowledge, has enough emotional maturity because of this knowledge that I am Bhagavan, I'm one with everything. And the yogi has so much security that they are full of themselves in a nice way. And so they do not get affected by criticism or praise. They are the same. And that sameness is the key. That is what we have to cultivate. And that is what is the being saintly. Yeah.
Yeah. my question relates to the layers of existence, our layers of existence. You know, you mentioned before the body-mind complex.
Yes.
So there is the body, there's the mind, there is the intellect, there is the memory, there is the ego, and there is the self. Now, there was a time when I thought everything is intellect. Why? Because intellect pays my bills. I didn't even know that there is more than that.
Yeah.
And I think the majority of humanity is like, it's like caught in a bubble that is called intellect or mind.
Yeah.
If you can maybe talk to that.
Yeah, the world is very heady, especially these days. In fact, you have said it beautifully. I don't know what else I can add. So it is, it's even easy to give up the body identification. One can say, it's very clear, I'm not just this body. I'm much more than this body, one can say. But it is very, very, very difficult to understand that I am not the mind, because one loves the mind and there is an identification. That's why we have a saying in the Taittiriya Upanishad, Yato vacho nivartante apraapya manasa saha. Yataha vachaha manasa saha nivartante. So, where the mind returns having beaten a sad little retreat, along with its friend, the speech. Speech and mind, of course, are the best of friends. How can they not be? Each of them is slightly envious of the other. Mind says to speech, oh, you are so flowery. You can put into words all my thoughts. Thank you. And speech says, I'm so jealous. You think amazing things. It's amazing. Let's be friends. You're the greatest of friends. But they can describe everything in the universe. But when they go to describe Brahman, Ishvara, you, the truth of you, the truth of the self, they just have to come back. They have to say, we have failed. We are not successful in this. Because as soon as the mind starts to try to conceptualize Brahman in any form, in any name, or categorize Brahman as belonging to this, that, or the other species or category, it is gone. Because it loses itself, because Brahman is not a category, it's not a noun, it's not a verb, it doesn't do anything, it's not a verb, and it doesn't have any relationship to anything because it's the only thing there is. And then what else? Jati, guna, it doesn't have attributes, so it is cannot be described with adjectives. So the mind and the speech beat a retreat. And in fact, if one has to know this, that is the surrender. That's why you bend the head, you bend the body. And in this bending, there is a loss of that, you practice losing the mind in a nice way. Okay. Yeah. And then when that happens, there is a lot of space. There's a lot of space for this teaching to go in. Otherwise, we are full of ourselves in not a nice way. And then as a result, there is no room for the teaching. There is a story you may have heard, it's a very well-known story of a student, of a professor, university professor went to interview a famous Zen master. And the university professor said, oh, oh, master, I have a lot of questions. And then the master said, okay, we'll have tea first. Oh, the university professors were very happy. Oh, tea with the master, how nice. And so he put one cup for this professor and went on pouring the tea until it poured over, spilled over. He said, master, what are you doing? Said, your mind is just like this right now. There is no space for me. You say you have come to ask me questions, but you are so full of yourself, there is no place for me at all. Go somewhere and sit and clear and come back. And there is another master story, and a similar story. The story was again the man said, "Please teach me." And the Zen master said, "Not today." The next day, the man came and said, "Please teach me." "Not today." "Please teach me." "Not today." They said, "Why are you not teaching me?" So he just said, "Bring a glass of water." So he brought half a glass of water. "Bring half a glass of water." And then he just turned and took some mud and then put it in the water and then stirred it. And then it was just completely muddy. So this is the state of the mind. And then he said, "Let's go for a walk." And they went for a walk and came back, and all the mud half an hour later had settled. Said, "When you are like this, I can teach you." So the mind is full of, it gets in its own way. It trips on itself. It wants to know, but then it will not sit down because it is great friends with the speech on one side and with the ahankara, the ego, on the other side. And all of them you come in your own way of the knowledge. Therefore, we just allow, that's why there is japa. Japa means soap. So the soap, each mantra is a brand of soap for inner cleansing. The body you clean with soap, the mind you clean with Om Namah Shivaya. That is the brand of soap. Then the mind becomes quiet, chitta naischalyam, and then you get chitta shuddhi by doing seva. When you do seva, seva doesn't mean, just, oh, today my duty is this, and I'm just going to do this. That's not seva. Seva means where the heart is transformed enough to go out and give. That is seva. And so that is what one does. And then this is, this is how it is. So this is what needs to be done. The mind, you shed the mind, you shed the analytical aspect. But then if you have no mind, how are you going to study this? Not possible. So the mind is brought in as a servant through the back door. First, it thinks it's a king and it is sitting on the throne. You have to snatch its crown and its paraphernalia and send it out and make it a servant. Come through the back door, sit and listen. It's not an agent of this knowledge, it's a receptacle where the knowledge takes place. I hope that was clear. Yeah. There were some more questions in this area.
Hi, Swamiji.
Hi.
Excuse me if I might misquote the Bhagavad Gita. My question is, there is a part in what in that Krishna says, even if you maybe have not done the work, if you're dying or you at the end of your life, just think on me, and I will take you.
Antakale cha mam smritva, that one, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is a question that my children did because we were raised Catholic, and
Yes.
when we all together read the Bhagavad Gita, they love it, and they say, "Well,
So
Mom,"
proud of you. Very nice.
yeah. So they asked me, and this is a question that they said, "So, Mom," and one of my daughters, she's afraid of flying, so whenever she's gonna fly, I said, "Well, if something happened, just think of God."
Yes.
And she said, "Okay, Mom, but is Krishna, is Jesus Christ, is Bhagavan?"
Yes.
Because she also was quoting another part, maybe
Yeah.
I might be mistaken, in the part that said they want to, they worship these gods or these avatars or these demons. They go to these places,
Yeah.
but the ones who worship me, they come to me.
Yeah, yeah. I will explain that. It is often misunderstood.
Yeah.
No, it is not like that. So first, let us take the first one, Antakale cha mam smritva tyajan kalevaran, and so meaning the one who gives up the body, even thinking of me at the last moment, means there is a, what's it, This is not a salvific tradition, as you know, but there is redemption from rebirth. That's the idea. Because even in the last minute, when you have this awareness that yes, Krishna and I are one, and I'm thinking about Bhagavan, I just want nothing more than Bhagavan, all I want is you. That is what is that surrender. Then you go to Bhagavan. That is the idea. And it's actually very beautiful. And this is the reason. And the Hindus got very clever, you see. Yeah. And what they did was they said, oh, that's easy. I have to think of Bhagavan all the time. I'll name, one child, I will name Narayana, another one Krishna. All right. So then whenever I call the child Krishna, then I'm thinking of Bhagavan. They thought they could have this loophole, okay, and and have the love for the child translated to love for Bhagavan, which is in fact in a way the same thing. But unfortunately, it doesn't work because of the pet names. Krishna becomes A Kittu, and Narayana becomes Nanu. And so it doesn't quite work because the pet names are used. But jokes apart, the idea is that there is that comfort, and there is that comfort of that promise. In Bhagavad Gita, certain promises are there. Name bhaktaha pranashyati, my devotee can never ever be destroyed. Like this one promise is there, another promise is there, like this, the one you mentioned, that even when you pray to me at the last minute, I'm there for you. And so that is very comforting. And you see, the idea is that whatever you think of in the last minute is what you have been thinking of all the time. So when supposing somebody says, please think of Krishna at the last minute, most people will say, last minute, no, not now. So why should I worry now? But when do we know when the last minute is? Last minute can be in the next minute. We don't know that. And so therefore, the idea is to not pray, but be a prayerful person. The person who prays is a person for whom prayer is a discrete act, separate from oneself. Whereas a prayerful person is the one for whom all is the attitude in which all acts are done prayerfully. So this is what the first part of your question. The second part of the question comes from the Bhagavad Gita 16th chapter, Daivi Asuri Sampatti. Meaning it is badly translated as godly and devilish treasures or something like that. That's not how it is, but it is more like asuri vritti, like how some people behave like rakshasas. Rakshasa, everybody knows, yeah, demonic in nature. Give me, this is mine, and who are you? And tell people off, and just ride roughshod over other people's chances, etc. And so then, Lord Krishna systematically goes through their whole daily life. What do they eat? They will eat leftovers, peas pudding in the pot, 9 days old. Okay. Yeah, no. Some like it hot, some like it cold, some like it in the pot, 9 days old. Yeah. So this is 9 days old. What prana will it have? How can it give you prana? Tell me that. If it is nish prana, if it doesn't have prana, how can it give you prana? This is the thing. And so this is like what is called tamasic food they will eat. And they will eat things that are extremely smelly in nature, strong odors. They will like that. And then so that is their eating lifestyle. And then how do they pray? That is also there. They also may be having some prayer. So they will invoke ghouls and ghosts and all these things. You pray, you may see spirits, that's okay, but you pray to Bhagavan. That is the idea. So but here sometimes people pray to certain lowly entities. That's what it is said. And then if that is what one is praying to for some favor, they will say, okay, please give me this. Why ask the spirit when the Bhagavan himself can give? So this is the idea that, and then some forms of worship are very terrifying in nature. It is done in the cremation grounds. They go to the cremation grounds at the midnight or 2 o'clock in the morning. And then some of those people, they are called aghoras. And then they anoint themselves in a very drastic manner. And the puja is very drastic. And all these things are there. And then so like this, and harm is involved. Harm to other people is involved, because they will pray, let me be successful. This is a sattvic prayer. Nothing wrong in saying, let me be successful, oh Lord. But let me be successful, but let this person fail. Yeah, there is something asuric about that. So people who pray in that matter get their karma, and they will go to those kinds of entities. That is what is the idea. It's not about, it is nothing about Jesus. For us, Jesus is Bhagavan. He's avatar. Everything is avatara for us. Everything is Bhagavan. How can Jesus not be Bhagavan? If a tree is Bhagavan, a saint like Jesus, how can it not that not be Bhagavan? Yes.
Pray.
Yeah.
And is it, there are different ways to look at prayers. One is to say, I pray to get a certain outcome, a certain result, or I pray that I have the wisdom to see the good in all, or I pray that I have the strength to go through this storm to get to the other side. What is, yeah, so if you could explain that a little bit.
You know, the whole program, the Upanishad, that whole program is called healing. What is it called? Healing obstacles through prayer, overcoming obstacles. So not necessarily this particular session, but I'll be talking a lot about prayer. But to briefly address here, there are many kinds of prayers, and there are many kinds of devotees as well. And Lord Krishna conveniently categorizes 4 kinds of devotees. The one, as you say, prays for a particular outcome. And it's not even praying for an outcome. The one that prays only when it's absolutely necessary. This is the 911 devotee. Okay. Emergency number, that's all. In every religion, we'll find devotees like this. It's not just in this thing, in the Hindu tradition. What is God? How do you spell God? Okay, 911. When all else fails, here I have God on speed dial, and then you should come to me just now and help me out. Then the second kind of devotee is what you mentioned, praying for a certain kind of an outcome. And this is what is called the deal-making devotee. And in India, they are, they are shamelessly there, everybody. And they go to temples just before the children's exams and say, oh goddess, make this dunce that I have given birth to pass in the exams. And I'll give you a sari. Is the goddess waiting for your sari? Tell me. Very, very sorry, but no. Okay. Not at all. But this is how we pray. And it is accepted. It is accepted. And the priest also says, yeah, when are you bringing that sari? And then they will bring the sari and give. This is accepted form. It is not considered bribery at all, neither by Krishna nor by the whole India. It's not considered bribery. And it has come to America also. This is the deal-making devotee. And then the other example of that is, there is the richest temple, $94 million were netted in 2022. Tirupati Balaji temple, Mahavishnu temple. Because everybody loves Mahavishnu because he keeps things going, and that's what we want. And so there, the person will go and say, I'm naming my business Balaji Enterprises. So you be the sleeping partner. Bhagavan is laughing. Okay. And Mahavishnu's wife, Lakshmi, she is also horrified. She says, are you going to let them get away with this? And I'm imagining this. And Vishnu says, no, 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 this is how they are. Don't worry about it. You be the sleeping partner and I'll do all the work, and 50% of donation, I'll give 50% as donation. This is the deal making devotee. Then there is the third kind, the one you just described. And the one who says, I don't want any outcome and I don't want to have you on speed dial, but I just want to know, who are you? And why am I so attracted to you? Who are you? Show me your form. Show me what your name is. Show me who you are and show me how you are non-separate from me. This is the third kind of devotee called Jignasu. Then finally, the one who knows that I am non-separate from you, that one also is a devotee. Because as long as this body, mind, sense complex is there, from the standpoint of this body, one is a devotee. From the standpoint of the knowledge, it's all one. And so that devotee says, I am nothing but you. And so, sitting here, we love to sit in judgment and cancel out the first two devotees. Like, they don't know anything. They have not gone to a single ashram. And look at them, so greedy. The second ones, even worse. They go to ashrams and then they go to temples and they offer these bribes. And what's wrong with them? We sit in judgment. But Bhagavan Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Udara sarva evate. They are all exalted. Because the 911 devotee, instead of calling out to Bhagavan, can go rob a bank, but prays in desperation. And why is there the need to pray? But he prays, she prays. So that means they're all exalted because they choose to pray. In praying, there is a choice. And so therefore, the idea is to evolve into the third kind of devotee and to pray to be able to be in a position to see Bhagavan everywhere. When you say see the good in everything, that is seeing Bhagavan in everything, seeing God everywhere. That is moksha. That is freedom. That is liberation. That is what it is. Because all that is here, we say is God. That's why we don't have any problem with this one God, two God, three God, nothing. Everything is God. And when you're able to appreciate that, then there is a great maturity. And that is what is called self-knowledge. Because if everything is God, one includes oneself in that everything, right?
Good afternoon. So hi.
Hello. I was looking over there.
I know, it's okay.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. So I was raised Catholic as well. And I know there's a tradition, from what I understand in the Bible, that says something along the lines of our days have been predestined. That God has already pretty much laid out the foundation for our life in a certain capacity. And I'm not really sure about the Akashic records, but it sounds like that's a similar idea, that there's certain things that are already destined for us to accomplish and complete. So I guess my question is about free will versus fate and destiny.
Yes, I was wondering how we went so far into the satsang without a free will question. That's always very fascinating. Very, very fascinating. Because you can see, when you say destiny, the Hindu concept of destiny is karma. And when you say karma here, it means not action, but the results of action. The same word is used for action and results of action. So we are actually saying karma phala, the fruits of action from deeds done either in this life or in other lives. So, for example, if supposing I have done something wonderful, either in this life or in other lives, then I'm enjoying a comfortable situation. Like I'm enjoying a wonderful time with you. I'm thinking this is my good karma. See, this is one example. So this way we can take everything as free will, because that good that was done in the previous life, where did that come from? That also came from the free will, correct? I chose to do something and now I'm reaping the benefits of that. And so somebody, you can get a mosquito bite and then it swells up. You have to go to the hospital, get something to put on it, all these things. That could be a little bit of difficult karma. Maybe, I had bitten somebody with my words or deeds in some ways, and then it has come back to bite me. So like this, you can say everything is free will. Whether the free will was exercised in this life or in another life, doesn't matter. So it's all free will, you can say, or it's all Bhagavan, you can say, who is the architect of how to give the fruits of karma, because the fruits of karma are not literal and they come in various shades and various, with a sense, with a touch of humor, it will come. The karma will come back. It's not literal. You took something from somebody, and then somebody will take something from you. It's not so literal. It's much more creative. And whatever you have done comes back. But how it comes back, we say, is in the hands of Ishvara, who decides, or who is manifest as the law of karma. That law decides how one is going to get it. So then, that you are here, that I am here, is it because we were destined to be here? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Or did we, but in a way, we chose to be here because obviously, where did you come from? Where did you come from? Where did you travel from? Yeah, so obviously you have to make a booking and you have to come. And I also had to make a booking and I had to come. So where is the, but was the booking that was done, were we supposed to make a booking? This is a very good question. And you see how it will go. And then we will be here, until the rest of the week. We'll be sitting here wondering about this. And so Lord Krishna, in the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, sums it up by saying, Gahana karmano gatihi. The way of karma is mysterious. We don't know how it functions. We don't know how it functions. So, but it is not really predestined, because otherwise you wouldn't have a free will. We would have been a dog or a cat in the ashram. Because, but we are not catatonic. That means there is the use of the free will. We are choosing. In every situation, there is a choice to make. Somebody says something unkind. I have a choice to tell them off, to be equally or more unkind so that they never come back again. They never dare to show their face to me again. Or I can give them a lecture. If you do this, you will get bad karma. And then still feel good that I have told them off by giving them a spiritual lecture. This is what happens in ashrams, okay? Yeah, so I can give them a spiritual lecture. You need to grow spiritually. And I can tell them that. Or I can say they must be having a bad day and just walk away from the situation gracefully, because saying anything at this time is volatile and better to keep quiet than to say anything at all. These choices are there. That means there is free will. So if supposing I chose the former, if supposing I chose to be twice as unkind to them and tell them off totally, then you know what, I cannot blame that on Bhagavan and say I was destined to do that. Nice try, but that doesn't work, because you had at least 2 other options that we have identified. Maybe there are infinite more options. So either we say everything is free will and take responsibility and accountability for our actions, or we say everything is Bhagavan and live like a sadhu. Either you be a sadhu or a don't. Okay, your choice. Yeah. Yes.
My question is about grief.
Greek? Oh, grief. Yeah. I was going to say I don't know much about grief.
Either do I. I would just like you could speak on the grief and stages of grief. And I've recently lost my grandma and my best friend. And my grandma, I was very happy to see her go. She was 98. But my friend, it was fast and she died of cancer. We didn't get to say goodbye. And I can find so much peace with my grandma, but I cannot find peace and resolving from the loss of my friend.
I'm so sorry. That must be very, very hard. How old?
36.
Yeah. See, they don't expect people to go at that time. And it is very, very difficult. I'm sorry for your loss. Even though the friend is in a better place rather than suffering from the pain in this body. The friend is very free. Yes, I can sense that. And I think you can too. So this is the thing, that grief means two things. One is there is an emptiness, there is a void. Nobody will be able to fill that spot. You can make 100 more friends, but they will not be the same. 100 people. Everybody here can come to you after the satsang and say, I want to be your friend. And I hope they do. And then, but still, it will not make up for that one missing one. Why is there this gap? Why is there this loss, this feeling of loss? Why is there this feeling of emptiness? Because the friendship is now one-sided. You still relate to the person as your friend, but there is nobody to be a friend back. That's why there is this gap. And that takes time. Time is Bhagavan. Time is the greatest healer. And stages of grief, they talk about 6 stages, 5 stages, so many things. The grief means there will be pain, there will be anger, there will be agony, there will be denial, there will be all kinds of things. From the standpoint of the Shastra, the second thing in grief is what we call the non-acceptance. It's not that the denial doesn't mean that the friend is not gone. That's not the denial. The denial means there is an active resistance because this has happened against my desires and my wishes. Why did this happen against my wishes? That's why I am not accepting that. That is the grief. That is one of the big parts of grief. That's the second component in our discussion. First is that loss, the missing every day, the not able to be able to see, the not able to be able to share, the inability to see, the inability to share, the inability to do this. This is the pain, this is the sorrow. Part 1. And part 2 is the inability to move on, the inability to accept what has happened. And for the first one, of course, time will heal. And then it also helps if you keep the memory of the friend alive through doing some of the things that you like to do with that person, or servicing a cause that was dear to that person. Keep the memory alive. That's a very nice way to overcome that first component. And the second component of the non-acceptance, you start by accepting the non-acceptance. Can you accept the non-acceptance?
I can try.
If you say no, then I will say, can you accept the non-acceptance of the non-acceptance? And I'll keep on asking you until at some point you have to give up and say, yes, yes, yes. I finally accept the non-acceptance of 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 the non-acceptance. That's a starting point. Then every day it's one less non-acceptance because I have accepted another non-acceptance. So give yourself the time to grieve. It's okay. And I'm so glad you brought up the question today. I'm so glad you asked it, and kudos to you for asking it in public and sharing this. That also helps the grief. It's just very beautiful. And then finally, I will say grief is Bhagavan. Imagine if you bottled everything up. Where would you go? OMG, it would be like a pressure cooker. Yes, you would literally blow the lid off. And that's no fun. And so it needs an outlet. It needs an outlet, a safe outlet, I might add, without hurting yourself and hurting anyone else either. A safe outlet. Write it out, cry it out, and surround yourself with things that comfort you and keep the memory alive. That really helps. It gives a project. I hope that was helpful.
Thank you.
Yes.
With the spirit will help you accept that the person is in another place. And there are very specific techniques to be able to do that.
You finished?
Now, that's what I want to say, that understanding that life is eternal and that that person is really alive, and being able to communicate with that person either through thought, through vision, through sound,
through prayer,
through prayer, that helps tremendously. And the spirit usually wants very much to give us the news that I am not dead. I have gone somewhere, and it's possible for you to contact me.
Do we have online questions?
Yes. Yeah, please read. Yeah.
So, Sita, you can unmute yourself.
Thank you so much. Om Swanji, Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Thank you so much. So thank you for everything that you have shared with us so far. And everything you said had already answered something that I've asked. And yes, there is free will. I woke up at 5:30 this morning. I don't usually check to see programs. I was directed to this program because I have been grieving for my father who's passed. There's been a lot of unpleasantness around it with his other family. And I've shown up as love and acceptance, and it hasn't been received well. One of the things that I'm asking also is how to overcome obstacles with prayer. I know that from meditation, I can find balance and relief, like accepting things as they are and accepting things as they are not. I had done my teacher training back in 2019. And when I came back to the States in 2020, for 2 months, I went online and did pranayama just it didn't matter who was there, but I gave of that. And of course, with my humanness, I'm not able to maintain the same type of practice that I had when I was on the ashram. Can you please give me some type of direction as far as how I can continue to stay prayerful?
Yes, yes. So you have asked two questions: how to heal obstacles through prayer. I'll just summarize whatever we are going to be talking about at length the rest of this week. So it'll be in a short form. So basically, when there is an obstacle, who is the one that put the obstacle? We can say karma. And karma is another name for Bhagavan, Ishvara, God. And so we pray to that energy itself in the form of Ganapati, in the form of anything you want, any which way you want, to say, please take away these obstacles that are coming. And the obstacles could be outer obstacles in the form of, I want a goal and I have a goal, and there are some things that are coming in the way of realizing that goal. Or the obstacles could be inner obstacles in the form of certain resistance to self-growth, acceptance, being in a relaxed, compassionate, contented place, being in a place of openness. There is some resistance, and that is something which I want to cultivate. So for both inner and outer obstacles, that prayer helps, because if prayer is karma, I inoculate myself against the karmic effects of previous karma by initiating new karma in the form of surrender. That is a new karma. It's a karma of surrender. It's a karma of humility. It's a karma of supplication. And then that has its own benefits. That has its own results. And so that is one way you heal the obstacles. I'll be talking a lot more about that in the morning and the evening sessions, satsangs. And then the other thing that you said, how to have, this is a very important question, how to have an ashram-esque lifestyle when one is not in the ashram. Very difficult. Very difficult, because primarily because nobody else around you is doing it. Nobody else is getting up at 5 o'clock. Why should I? Give me one good reason. You tell them, you tell yourself, and no reasons come up. And so they say, okay. So, and then same thing, in the ashram, you don't do certain things and you have a certain regular schedule. And that's why the coronavirus was, epidemic, the pandemic was very interesting, because it was continuous A, T, 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 C, 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 C. It was continuous because you couldn't see anybody. You could not go anywhere. You could not do anything. That's why you could just, be at home and in an ashram-esque life, because there was no night life. There was no day life even, for that matter. And you had to, even people who always like to eat out had to learn to cook. Horror of horrors. So many things happened. And it has really transformed us. I think Bhagavan gave us that's why I call it the Karuna virus. Okay. But Bhagavan, in all the compassion, gave us this virus to be able to reset the spiritual anatomy, the spiritual clock, to reset that and to reconnect to ourselves. And we need to do that. And so the other thing about having an ashram-esque life outside the ashram is first step is to acknowledge this is not an ashram, and I can't do this exactly how I do it outside, because there is no, these possibilities are not there. There are not people around me, and I'm not in a sheltered place where this knowledge is being talked about. I have to tell myself that. I have to accept it. And when I accept it, then I become looser with myself. Otherwise, what happens is that first there is not having the ashram life. Second, there is feeling bad about not having the ashram life. Number 3, there is feeling bad about feeling bad. And then, where are we going to go? There is a lot of self-unforgiveness, self-flagellation. Ashram life works because it is gentle. So what I will say to you is, I would like you to be soft, relax, don't make the shoulders into earrings, and, relax the face, relax the jaws, relax the tongue, relax the forehead. Nowhere to go, nothing to gain, nothing to lose. Tell yourself this every day. Sit and tell yourself this every day. And make the goals very, very, very small. If I say to myself, I'm going to spend the whole day in meditation, I'll be very disappointed. But if I tell myself I'm going to practice 1 minute meditation, then I have nothing to lose. 1 minute I can do anything. I can say Om Namah Shivaya for 1 minute without getting distracted or bringing the mind back. Even after getting distracted, this is great. This is wonderful. So this is what we do. We say bit by bit, little bit by little bit by little bit, and be very gentle, compassionate, and soft with yourself. And when you do that, you radiate that to the entire world. Om. Yeah. Yes.
I had a question. There are times like you are pretty motivated, you do things the right way, but what happens when there are times what you're doing is not right, but you still cannot, like,
Stop yourself.
you still cannot stop yourself.
Yeah. Let's blame it on astrology. Yeah. And say, I must be going through a bad period. Something is returning. Saturn must be returning, or Mercury is in retrograde, which it is. And, or something is whatever. In fact, it's kind of nice to look at it from a planetary standpoint and say, this is just not my day. And if you run out of all excuses, the moon will naturally be void of course. Of course. Okay. And so there is something called moon is void of course. I mean, and what a void of course means, it's not in this constellation and it's not in that constellation, it's in between. And it makes things difficult. So I have heard. Or you can say it's the full moon, I'm acting out. It's the new moon, I'm acting out. You can give anything, no problem. In a way, it's nice to externalize it. Otherwise, it's worse to internalize it. So you can just sort of, the planetary explanation helps because you can gently look at it. And then you say, okay, now I know that this is what is happening. How can I be gentle with myself? How can I bring myself out of it? So yes, there are times when one is motivated, go with the flow, run when you're motivated. And there are certain other times you feel like a water buffalo. What to do? Sit, that's all. Sit for some time and then tell yourself, you tell yourself a very simple truth. Even the water buffalo has to drink. Even the water buffalo has to eat. And since I'm just behaving or feeling like a water buffalo without being one, I have to cook also. So this way you motivate yourself to do little. That's how it is. And then sometimes the non-motivation is because there is a trigger. Some painful memory has been triggered, but you don't know what it is. And so that might be nice to write it out, have a little journaling, morning journaling practice, and think about when was the first time you felt like this. And you can just write, when was the first time I felt like a water buffalo? And we don't mean in a past life, we mean in this life, with the human body, with the current body. Yes, asmin janmani, not janmantare. So in this body, when did I feel like this? When did I last feel like this? Oh, sometimes the correlations comes up when you write. Oh, when I was denied this. Whenever I'm denied a piece of chocolate cake, I go into water buffalo mode. Okay, so this is good news. This is very important information. And so I work with that information.
You just triggered a follow-up question.
Sure.
That is on the other side, when you are like so super passionate and there comes this dispassion.
Where comes the dispassion?
No, I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you live a life full of passion,
yes,
there is this other element that is so important, that is dispassion.
Yes.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah. See, we are not wanting, super passionate either. Because you see, dispassion is not disengagement. It's not disengagement. It's not just sitting back and not doing anything. That's not dispassion. Dispassion means not being so invested in a particular kind of an outcome. That is dispassion. I let go of a preferred outcome. Even though I may have a preferred outcome, but when I'm face to face with it, with the outcome, and the outcome is what I don't want, that is the outcome. And then what happens? I tell myself, it is okay. I learn to adjust my expectations with the outcome. That is growth. That is overcoming the strong preferences and prejudices, also called raga and dvesha. That is adjusting that. That is what is growth. So dispassion means growing into a place of not caring, of accepting whatever comes as a prasada from Bhagavan. It is called prasada buddhi. Go ahead.
Is it non-attachment?
No, I won't even say it's non-attachment, because we are never attached to begin with. The Atma is asanga. It's naturally uninvolved with everything. It is not detachment, it is not attachment, it is not inaction. It is vairagya, difficult to translate. Vairagya means it's the absence of strong preferences for a particular kind of outcome. It is adjusting the preferences and the prejudices vis-a-vis the outcome. That's how I grow. I adjust the preferences in the light of whatever has come. Whatever has come is Bhagavan, is given by Bhagavan. So this is what is called prasada buddhi. The buddhi, the intellect, accepts it as prasada. Again, you can't translate this as a kind of a glad acceptance, knowing that this is what God has given right now. Yes, we have time for one more question. Last one.
Oh, online. Okay. All right. I'll keep it far from my mouth. First of all, thank you. You're fabulous. And I'm such a newbie at all of this. So learning when there's a sense of humor is much easier. So thank
Guru's
you.
grace, Guru's gift. Yeah.
Yes, it's wonderful. I want to go back to the yogi question about with them having such an ability to ignore or handle criticism.
Yes.
If we could just take that one step further, if that criticism was an accusation or slander and they got kicked out of the ashram,
Yeah.
what happens then?
They will be fine. Wherever they are. Wherever they are, there they are the ashram. The heart is the ashram.
So
They
they
will be
shouldn't
fine.
say anything to try to get back?
It's not about should or should not. It's not about should or should not. There are no shoulds. If they want to come back or whatever it is. See, if we are talking of a yogi, right? We are talking of a response of a yogi.
Right.
If the person is a yogi, the person will say, okay, this place is not for me. That means, like a bird. If another aggressive bird comes and pecks it out of the nest, it will just fly somewhere and make another nest. It will not come and say, I'm going to sue you. Here are the legal papers or I belong here. Yogi is like a bird, always in flight. That is, there is a freedom there. That's why I use the bird analogy. There's a freedom. And so the freedom means, somebody thought something about me that I haven't done. Okay, let's say I haven't done something and somebody said, you have done this. Okay, you can't stay here. Okay. And then where are you going to go? I don't know. But then the chances are once they go, they will know something else will happen. Some series of events will intervene. And then it will turn out that it was the best thing that they were not in this place. It happened for the best. It always does, because there is a higher intelligence operating. Yeah.
Thank you.
Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet, asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritangamaya. Om purnamadah purnamidam purnat purnamudachyate, purnasya purnamadaya purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. There is prasad there, so please everybody take some prasad and go.